Welcome back to my little corner. I'm Carol Ann, and we're continuing my journey through mental health, which has been a long one. Today, I want to talk about an exercise I learned here a while back. It's a grounding exercise. So if you're prone to panic attacks, or just have, like me, my panic attacks aren't like other panic attacks. I don't get the pounding heart and the closing of the throat. I don't feel like I'm having a heart attack. I get confused, and I have this other personality in me that comes out, and it's like she's like a shield. I've been working with my therapist about it. We've decided to call her Brat. It's like this childlike thing comes out of me when I get nervous or scared. Not sure why she comes out, but I go through a complete, total personality change. It hasn't really been described to me whether it's like I have multiple personalities or anything like that. It's just a coping mechanism of mine. But even if you're not having that type of a panic attack, if you're having where you feel like one coming on where your heart starts beating and you can't breathe, this is a great exercise. I call it the Name the 5 Things game. I'm not really sure what it's called, and some of you have probably heard about it and have even tried it. If you have, let me know how it goes, and if you try it after this, let me know how it goes. I use it in the car all the time because I'm afraid of traffic. I was in a car accident back in 2011, and so I get really scared in the car. And what happens with me is I get so scared, especially if we're on the freeway and there's big trucks going by, I want to jump out of the car. So this keeps me from doing that, because I think that could be a little detrimental to my health, along with a few other people probably. So here it is. I call it the 5 Names game. And what you do is you name 5 things that you see, 4 things that you feel, 3 things that you hear, 2 things that you smell, and 1 thing that you taste. So, like I said, I use it in the car. I don't suggest using it in the car if you're driving, but I use it in the car. I don't drive, so I can get away with it. And I'll sit there and I'll go, okay, I see the glove box. I see the dashboard. I see this, the radio, on and on. I feel the car seat under my butt. I feel the floorboards under my feet. That kind of thing. I hear traffic. I hear my driver talking to me. That kind of thing. And usually by the time I get to 2 or 1, we're off the freeway and I'm more relaxed. I still have trouble in regular off the freeway traffic, especially when it comes to cars merging in front of us, which I don't really understand, because the accident we were in, we were rear-ended. We were at a complete stop, and the car behind us didn't stop. They were fiddling with their phone or something. I can't remember. They said, but that whole incident is kind of blurry to me. But this is a great exercise. I've actually used it on other people, where a friend of mine started feeling really discombobulated and out of sorts, and I just sat there and said, okay, do this. And I said, if there are other people around, I'd flag them to say, we're focusing here. It's a great focusing exercise. You can also just focus on one thing and sit there and say to yourself, it's this shape, it's this color, it's, you know, has this feel to it. It's shiny, it's dull, it's fuzzy, it's smooth. These all exercises all work really well, at least for me. And like I said, you can try this and let me know how it goes. I find it works really well. It's one of my favorites. I'm working on other ones. Because you know, at home you can color. And I can even color in the car. I have a little thing of color crayons and a mini color book that I take with me everywhere. But it gets a little hard, especially when the road gets bumpy. So, and when you're on the phone, it's distracting to the driver. So, this one works best for me when I'm in the car. And I've also used it like in the store. I have a hard time around crowds. So that's part of my PTSD, I guess. It's really weird how my PTSD mainly comes from being bullied in grammar school. I was, you know, beat up daily, and like the last video I was going to talk about it, and I just wasn't in that place. But I've been working, you know, I talked to my therapist about it, and I've been doing my exercises, you know, so, and it is important that bullies realize just how damaging they're doing. And if you're hearing noise in the background, that's my tortoise, MRE. She's wanting to be fed, but she can wait. Yeah, I was bullied pretty bad in grammar school from starting in about the 2nd grade because I was shorter than everybody else. I have, you know, the red hair, and I had crossed eyes when I was growing up. And I gave up when I was about 14 or 15 and just quit school altogether. I wasn't learning anything. I mean, when you're bullied, you don't learn anything because you're focused on the people around you who are like kicking you from under the seat, and, you know, you're just waiting for somebody to do something. And you wait, you know, till everybody else leaves the school before you go home, and then you go down back alleys, and it was pretty horrible for me. And you find ways to keep from getting bullied, but the fear just builds and builds and builds, and it can last a lifetime. It has with me. It's pretty much messed me up. Like I said, I'm afraid of clouds. I spent years not even leaving my apartment. I'm getting better. Like I said, I'm in therapy one more time, and we're just now realizing that is part of the root of my problem, that I do have PTSD. I just recently learned that. Before, they just focused on my depression because I was doing self-harm and trying to commit suicide all the time. I tend to be an overdoser when things get to be too much, and it's mostly because I just want to go to sleep. I don't really want to die. I just want to go to sleep and have everything just stop. I want the pain to stop. I want the confusion and to stop. And I have like physical ailments like severe Willis-Ekbom disease, which most of you know as RLS, which really hinders your getting help with depression because you can't take antidepressants. And there's a lot of anti-anxiety medications you can't take either. So you're stuck with the movement and the pain, and it just gets, you know, gets overwhelming. And that's where this comes in. when I do start feeling overwhelmed, I do this, and it helps. So I really suggest you try it. And I would just, like I said, I would love to hear how it goes with you. So that's about it for now. Like I said, I want to keep these short, just a little bit at a time. Gives you just, easier for you to digest, easier for me to let out. And I'll continue on with this discussion in my next video. So I'll see you next week. You have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.